It all started with a letter. My family and I had just moved into our dream home in a quiet suburban neighborhood. The house was perfect, spacious, modern, and nestled in a friendly community. We were thrilled to start our new life there. One warm summer evening, as I rummaged through our mailbox, I found the first letter addressed to the new owners. It contained a single sentence that sent a chill down my spine. "Welcome to the neighborhood. We've been watching you." At first, I thought it was a prank, maybe from some kids in the area. I crumpled the letter and tossed it into the trash, brushing off the uneasy feeling settling in my stomach. Over the next few days, I focused on unpacking, trying to forget about the letter. My wife, Sarah, and our two kids, Emma and Jake, were just as excited about the new house, and I wanted to keep the mood light. But then the letters kept coming. Each one was more unsettling than the last. The second letter arrived just days later, this time with more details. "We saw you move in. Your daughter has a lovely doll collection." The hair on the back of my neck stood up as I read it. How did they know about Emma's dolls? The letters were always unsigned, and there was no return address. Soon we started noticing other strange occurrences around the house. At night, we heard footsteps on the roof, the sound of someone walking slowly, deliberately. Sarah and I would wake up with our hearts pounding, but when we checked, there was never anyone there. Emma began complaining about someone tapping on her window at night. I tried to reassure her, but I could see the fear in her eyes. One evening, while Sarah was making dinner and the kids were playing in the living room, I decided to install some security cameras around the house. I needed to catch whoever was tormenting us. That night, as I reviewed the footage, I saw it. A dark figure standing at the edge of our yard, just beyond the reach of our porch light. They stood there, motionless, watching. I called the police, but they couldn't do much with the limited information we had. They promised to patrol our neighborhood, but the letters continued, each one seeming to know more about us, our routines, our fears. "We know you check the cameras. It's cute that you think it will help," one letter read. I felt helpless. I couldn't protect my family from this invisible threat. Tension filled the house, and Sarah and I started arguing more often. The kids were scared to sleep in their own rooms. We were prisoners in our home, constantly looking over our shoulders. One night, the situation escalated. We were awakened by a loud crash. I grabbed a baseball bat and rushed downstairs to find our living room window shattered. Amidst the broken glass lay another letter. "Did you enjoy the show?" I looked outside but saw no one. The police came again, but as usual, there was no trace of the intruder. That was my breaking point. I decided to stay up all night, every night, to catch this person. I sat in the dark living room, bat in hand, staring out the window. For several nights, nothing happened, and I began to think they had finally left us alone. But then, one night, I saw it. The figure was back, standing in our yard, just staring at the house. Fear and rage coursed through me as I threw open the door and ran outside, bat raised, ready to confront them. But as I reached the spot where they had stood, they were gone. No trace, no footprints, nothing. I started to doubt my own sanity. Was I imagining things? Were the letters real? The constant fear took its toll on all of us. One morning, while about to throw out the trash, I found another letter. This time, it was inside our house. "Look in the basement." My heart raced. I hadn't spent much time in the basement since we moved in. It was mostly used for storage. Grabbing a flashlight, I headed down the creaky wooden stairs. The basement was dark and musty, filled with old furniture and boxes we hadn't unpacked yet. As I shone the flashlight around, I noticed a small door at the far end of the room that I hadn't seen before. It was barely visible, hidden behind some old shelves. My hands trembled as I approached. The door was locked, but I found the key hanging on a nail nearby. With a deep breath, I unlocked the door and pushed it open. The smell hit me first, damp and earthy, as if the air hadn't been disturbed in years. Inside was a small, dark room. The walls were covered in old newspaper clippings and photographs. In the center of the room was a chair, and on it a notebook. I picked up the notebook and flipped through the pages. It was a diary of sorts, detailing the lives of everyone who had lived in the house before us. The last entries were about us, our daily routines, our habits, even our fears. The handwriting was erratic, almost manic. The realization hit me like a punch to the gut. The watcher was someone who had lived in this house before us. They were obsessed with it, with the people who lived here. I felt sick to my stomach. I needed to get my family out of there, but I didn't want to panic them. I went upstairs and told Sarah we needed to leave immediately. She didn't ask questions. She just grabbed the kids and started packing. As we were about to leave, I found one last letter in the mailbox. You can't escape. I'll always be watching. We moved out that same day. We never told the new owners about what had happened, about the letters, the figure, or the hidden room. I couldn't bring myself to do it. I wanted to believe we were safe, that the watcher was tied to the house and not to us. But even now, in our new home, far away from that nightmare, I sometimes feel like I'm being watched. I'll catch a glimpse of a shadow in the corner of my eye or hear faint footsteps at night. I try to tell myself it's just my imagination, but deep down, I know the truth. The watcher is still out there, and they always will be. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more spine-tingling tales, make sure to support the channel by subscribing. Don't forget to check out all our other videos for more thrilling and haunting stories.